if there is one thing, you would want to understand about us, anyway, there is a video data. Today, all the video data that is recorded by CCTVs generally or static video data, they just go into a cloud server and reside there. But we are in the business of deriving value out of the video data that is being generated every day in PTs. And so we are an advanced video analytics company, and we do applied AI models to inference on the video data and get the output that the clients want. And we do manufacturing of electronics as well. Next slide, please. Probably you would have, I'm just skipping in the interest of the time. We're based out of Malta, Italy, Singapore, India, and Taiwan. We have our own production house based out of Taiwan. This is just our roadmap. Started with edge devices and transitioned to a player where we can integrate hardware and software together. And we are now very well known, especially globally, for our smart cameras. Next slide, please. Okay, we are an NVIDIA partner company since inception. We are their preferred partner for NVIDIA Jetson, which is basically a platform developed for designing AI hardware. And we are their Metropolis elite partner, contributing to solutions for many use cases. Next slide, please. These are target market verticals. Predominantly, we're doing most of the business out of Europe and Middle East because those are the guys with money and the appetite. But we operate in the verticals of smart cities, retail, healthcare, defense, robotics, and manufacturing. Next slide, please. Okay, what do? We have some products and solutions. Products, basically edge nodes. Edge nodes are nothing but boxes with AI hardware inside, which can run powerful AI models. We have our own solutions, which are plug-and-play AI models, which can be deployed on edge devices. And then we tinker with the engineering of the pipelines of ML, DL as well. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. Edge boxes. Next slide, please. So there are 4 edge boxes which you can see on the screen. Uranus, Sorter, Athos, and Mars. Just some Greek names, if you just consider the names. But idea is, on a progressive basis, these edge boxes can house more high computing power in the NVIDIA Jetson series, and they can be used in a variety of applications. For example, Uranus is a simple all-purpose edge box where you can just plug 2 cameras from any of the feed and you can run a simple AI model like people counting, people congregation, object recognition, number plate reading, so on and so forth. Sorter is already if there is a raft of CCTV installed somewhere. We don't want to go and tell to people replace all these things. So we've designed something called Sorter. The feed of these CCTVs can be directly plugged. All these CCTV cameras can be directly plugged into this Sorter, and where you can run an AI model, inferences on the edge, and gives the outputs that one wants. Athos, it's a recently launched product. These are basically products with NVMe, 4G, 5G, Wi-Fi, and DIN rail mounting, basically designed for outer environments with harsh temperatures and thermals. Athos and Mars both are designed basically to help with the use cases in smart cities, traffic, and Industry 4.0. So what this does basically, it transforms the static video data residing in either factory floors or your assembly lines or security surveillance verticals. They can just get the video data into these devices, run an AI model, inference on the edge. You predefine any incidents that you would want. For example, if it is an assembly line, somebody should not move out of the station for more than so many minutes. If it is a security of a particular property, nobody should be found there loitering. Nobody should be found there, going to that area. So you predefine, we can just model and it gives a real-time alert to your dashboard on a continuous basis. That's about the edge nodes. Next slide, please. And we have a couple of AI cameras. Next slide. So the edge devices you have seen, these are AI hardware with power, and you need to connect cameras or any other devices, sensors to these edge boxes. We've developed a couple of cameras with AI hardware inside. So these becomes plug and play. So there's no need of a couple of sensors integration and stuff. These are cameras with, as I said, AI hardware inside. SmartCam is a camera designed for indoor environment like where we're sitting now. Probably there are CCTV cameras here as well, but they generally record what is happening here. But as I think Honorable Minister was telling in the morning, we can run a program to gauge the mood of every guy who's speaking here, and it would do so. And SuperCam is a AI smart camera designed for outdoor use specifically. Especially, it's an IP65 grade, so it can be used in Indian conditions outside. So it can be used in traffic in smart cities. See, when you want to opt for a solution, what is happening today is the complexity of execution. You are sourcing cameras from one guy, you're sourcing AI hardware from one guy, you're sourcing AI model from another guy, and you have to approach another guy for the integration of all these things and, to get the data back into the cloud. What we have tried to do is we've made this an end-to-end product. So it's simply a plug-and-play device. You just deploy it, connect it to Ethernet, and you have a configurable dashboard in your native web environment or in your host environment. And it can do, this can do basically ITMS's intelligent traffic management system, number plate reading, object classification recognition. So these are all pre-built models which can be installed on these things, and they are good to go right from the point of installation. Next, please. So city station. Whoever would have visited at the top of the floor, there is a model, there is a city station demo being held on the stall up. So if you didn't, please have a look today or tomorrow. Next slide, please. It's specifically designed to install at a junction. What this does is 3-4 things. One, it has 4 cameras on the body. You can position the cameras in such a way that when it's installed in a junction, it can cover 360-degree FOV. So it can look all 4 sides of the junction. 2, there is AI hardware inside the city station, which is basically NVIDIA NX-based hardware. These cameras are connected to the hardware, and on the incoming video feed from this junction, you can basically have a AI model which gives you all traffic violation, which gives you seatbelt detection, seatbelt not wearing detection, somebody jumping a red light, so on and so forth. It can do ANPR and OCR. So it can start reading number plates of every vehicle at a junction. It can classify what sort of a vehicle is that, bus, truck, auto, rickshaw, and so on and so forth. And there can be, all these things can be configured as real-time alerts to flow back to a command control center. It also has, atmospheric, air monitoring indicator temperatures. These sensors measure PM 2.5, PM 10, relative humidity, TOC. So everything which is a measure of our pollutions, this records. Now, why we have embedded into this? There are clients in Europe who would want to correlate the type and volume of traffic to the corresponding pollution levels at a particular sensors, because by law they are supposed to maintain pollution levels within a threshold at some regions, especially where there are children playgrounds, schools, parks, and so on and so forth. So this can give insight to the city administrator as to what are the pollution levels vis-a-vis the kind of traffic that you're having there. So probably going forward, they can start moderating things on that dimension as well. Next slide, please. We have an engineering kit called Apollo. So today, if anybody who are dealing with the AI solution, they're designing, and when they need to test it, you need to basically go to 3-4 guys to arrange vision capabilities, audio capabilities, display capabilities, and then need to integrate all of these things to test your model. What we have done is we've built a engineering kit with built-in audio and vision capabilities. So this is supported by NVIDIA's DeepStream and Reva. Next slide, please. This is supported by DeepStream and Reva, and it has a large OLED screen. So any NLP, conversational AI, it can do language translations for you if you're testing an application, something like that. If you're testing a vision application, it can do the testing for you. And it can actually capture human emotions. So there are a lot of pre-built models in this engineering kit where you can concentrate on testing your model rather than setting things up together to carry out this testing. So this is also available up the stall. Just have a look if you have the time today or tomorrow. Next slide, please. Okay, Ultron, it is basically AI-enabled PLC. So typically PLCs does only 2 functions, on and off. Based on some sensor input, it either goes to off mode or on mode and actuates something. What we have done is we've developed a product where rather than, the on and off is typically generated by a voltage, and it's only one use case for every PLC. So this can see things, and based on what it is seeing, it can actuate a set of PLCs which can do the job, in industrial use cases. So a pretty advanced product just launched a while back. Next slide, please. We can move. Yeah, next slide. And as I said, we have some solutions. These are ready to deploy AI models which we have built. These can be deployed with our hardware devices or any other, NVIDIA compatible hardware devices. Fleet Tracker, Smart Spaces, Roadmaster, and Edgar. Next slide, please. Now, what is Fleet Tracker? Edge boxes. If somebody were to deploy 200 edge boxes, how do you maintain them? How do you have a holistic view of how they are functioning? What happens if you want to push an upgrade to all of these edge devices? Today, yeah, it sounds surprising, but a lot of people go to edge devices where they are running AI models and do the upgrade. What we have done is we've developed a dashboard, a platform basically, where every edge device can be configured into the platform, where we can view the health of these entire fleet of edge devices, and we can push the upgrades over the air. Now, it may not sound significant, but when you speak with clients who are dealing with this, it's a boon for them that there is an over-the-air push for upgrades of the firmware and the model as well. Next slide, please. So Fleet Tracker enables all these things. It enables basically looking at each device's performance and give recommendations to the controller that, this is how your device looks like as of now, and you may want to take some preventive or corrective actions depending upon the state of the device. Next slide, please. Next slide, I think I've explained. Smart Spaces, as it's developed for basically retail vertical. So there is a camera. If you come on the top, this is Smart Cam, and you place 2 of those cameras inside a retail store or big mall, and it gives you all those what is listed there: dwell time analysis, customer count, heat maps, queue manager, intrusion detection. So instead of having just CCTVs installed in your store and having having a feeling that video is being recorded for everything else, idea is to leverage that video and derive business insights from that, which will help increase your efficiencies and your revenues consequently. Next slide, please. Roadmaster is a product which is our ITMS, Intelligent Traffic Management System. It can be deployed on the city station, which is there on the top. If somebody can come up, there will be a demo as to what Roadmaster can do. Typically, it just detects all traffic anomalies and traffic violations. And as I said, OCR, Object Classification and Recognition. And the last point, vehicle re-identification matching. If some enforcement agencies were to say, I have a number plate, can you check whether this has passed by the junction? It can take a number plate, look into the network of 50 to 100 devices which are deployed. It can give a map saying that this is the path it has proceeded with timestamp on location. For example, if somebody didn't know a number plate, I know only a red color Audi, you can query the system even with the attributes, not only specific number plates. It will go look into the system, find out all red color Audis, and make a map out of every vehicle and give it to you if it is of use to us. Basically, a very strong use case in enforcement. Next slide, please. Next slide. He likes Roadmaster very much, I guess. Thank you, sir. No, there's a last slide. Okay, so that's another, a model for healthcare. This was developed as an initial response to the pandemic. Some client wanted, basically a big hospital client, wanted us to make an AI model which can auto-detect if people are wearing protective clothing, protective masks or not, while basically, going into the OTs or the hospital premises. Then graduated into, they wanted to give a step, basically SOPs for 5-6 sort of procedures, and they wanted the video feed made available and the AI to determine whether they have done things correctly or not. So that is there where this is. But this was done at the time of pandemic, and probably 6 months after that, somehow, we didn't get too deep into it. So that is where it stands. Thank you. Next slide. That is all. I hope I have finished my presentation in time. Thank you for your patience. I hope, didn't put you to sleep. Thank you.
May I invite Shri Rajkumar Sharma to please join us quickly on stage to present a memento. May I request you to please join us back. We'd like to present a memento to you as a token of our appreciation and thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Shri Goutham Katta. He is Chief of Partnerships and Growth, SmartCow. Thank you, Mr. Sharma.